Hello, back again, and today I will be teaching Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I'm going to start off with the intro slash verse riffs. Basically just make different shapes, like chord shapes kinda, and then you just pick each string individually. This is going to be on the higher of the three strings. Higher three. Start off with the G. It's gonna be on the 9th fret. B is 10, and 12 on the E. Hopefully that sounds familiar to you. And one thing to remember, because I'm gonna be switching around to different shapes now, is that it's pretty much most of the time it's gonna be 10th fret for the B string, but you can't always just leave your one finger there unless you're good at like switching up the fingers like that. Like just, it's gonna be more uncomfortable, but just one thing to remember there. So after that shape, you're gonna switch. This is the way I prefer to do it, but you could just leave your middle finger there and use your pinky instead. But I think it's just better off to do it this way. You're going to have 12th fret on the G and E strings and 10th fret on the B. And that time, instead of picking straight down like last time through the strings, you're going to pick the G, E, B. Like that. And then you just basically just lower that finger, whatever finger you had on the G string, you can just go down to the 11th. And then comes kind of like, basically the way I look at it, there are 3 endings to this. The most popular one is, well, I'll just show you like the whole little riff there with the normal ending. So that's like the ending that pretty much anyone that knows the song will know. But some people don't even realize that there's other endings to that little riff. So that one, after you do all that stuff that I just told you, you do 10 on the G, and then 10 on the E, 9 on the E, 10 on the B. And then, so that's one thing. That's for the intro, that's what you would play. And then also during the verse, it's kind of split up into 4 different sections. That'll be for the 1st and 3rd, I believe. You would play that whole thing. And then those first 2 little chord shapes things I told you about, those are going to be used for every single different part. Those will still be used for this next part. So this next part, those are used as well as the 3rd part. But then the ending changes up a little bit. It's going to be on the B string. You're going to do 13 and 10. Just kind of just like pull off, hammer on if you want, or you can just pick each one. Doesn't really matter. You will start off on 13. And you just do that, just 13, 10, 13, 10. And then you go back to the other one. And then the next one around is where you get rid of that 3rd part that I told you about and replace it with something, so you do. And then you skip right to, it's all on the E string. It's kind of like what you just did on the for the other ending on the B string, you start off with 9 and 12. You do that, just about the same thing, except instead of starting on the higher note, you start on the lower note. And then after you do that, you're just gonna do that actually 3 times, go back and forth for this tone. And then you go up to 10 and 13, and you just do that 2 times back and forth. 10, 13, 10, 13. And then you're gonna go into what is called the pre-chorus. Some people might call it something else. You can call it really whatever you want. You can call it a bridge. You can call it anything, but I would say it's a pre-chorus. Basically, just strumming chords. You can either do power chords, real chords, bar chords, whatever you want. You're gonna start off with a B flat. So you can either do, if you're not familiar with B flat, if you know your A, open A, it's really just a bar chord of that, and then a B would be one more up, but we're just doing a B flat. And that can be kind of tough for beginners. So if you want, you can just find a B flat on any string. Just start off with E, E, F, G, A, B. So B flat's right here. You can just do a power chord there. You can do a bar chord, E bar chord. Doesn't matter. So just do some kind of a B flat. And then after that comes a C. And also C could be up here at 8th fret, going from 6 to 8 then, if you're doing the bar chords, the power chords or bar chords. And then after that you do an F, so either you can do F, which is really just an E bar chord moved up one, or you can find an F on here. You can either do this high one, or, but really if you're doing power chords, you should go down to this low one. And then you go back to the B flat, whatever one you want to use again, and then back to the C again, and then this time you end with a G. So either 3rd fret G, G, or some kind of bar chord. So that's the pre-chorus. Just listen to the song for the strumming pattern, and pretty basic once you just get the hang of the chords or power chords or whatever you're using. And then comes the chorus, which this is pretty much the whole song now, just ending with the chorus. Basically there's guitar chords, like the real way to play it I guess will be with just chords, but then there's also a bass line, which is a little more interesting rather than just strumming along. So I'll teach you the chords and I'll tell you a little bass line. It's really just G. These go a little faster, so if you're not that good at switching chords yet, do the power chords, because it's really just like 2 quick beats, like, so you gotta be pretty quick. It's because it kind of goes along with the words like Lucy in the, and then after C it goes to D for, so you basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to go along with that, you could do this little bass line. It starts off on the E, and you're going to hit that twice on the 3rd fret. And then after that, you move over to the next string, A string, and then you do 0, 2, 3. And then after you do that, you move over to the next string on the D string, and 0, 2, 0. And then once you do that, you can either just let that open D ring, or you can play a D chord. So that's really the whole song. Basically just only part that's really challenging is trying to get down the intro, I guess. Just try to let the notes ring. It's not like, it's like supposed to be more like, so try to actually use different shapes and stuff rather than like actually hold down the notes. And then after that is just chords.